Oh, hi there. Looks like the oregano's going to seed, but I guess what I really should be doing is showing you how to use the OhmSound synthesizer. So let me go grab my ohm and get out of the garden and show you how it works. Here we are back in front of the computer. I'm going to start up the OhmSound application so we can take a look at what happens at startup. And we're starting it up. You can see here, found the Ohm64 that's connected right here. And the current settings were backed up. And then the FM synth settings were sent from the OhmSound. It reprograms the ohm to ensure that everything works right. So now that that is done, let's start playing. A little explanation: the OhmSound synth is a fully programmable, simple FM synth. FM synth is a simple type of synthesis where complex tones are made by modulating one waveform. That waveform's frequency with a carrier wave, and modulating that carrier wave with the modulation wave. And the key parameters in FM can be found here in the modulation and harmonicity parameters in 3 and 4. The modulation controls the amplitude of the modulation wave. So now that the modulation is at 0, it doesn't matter what the modulation wave is because it's not doing anything. And if we go to harmonicity over at parameter 4, then we can start hearing the effect of harmonicity. And notice that when I turn the carrier and modulation wave knobs over here, and looking at the top of the screen, we can see that we're morphing between different waveforms, and this really expands the sonic possibilities of this really elementary synthesizer. And another thing to notice is that when I turn the harmonicity depth knob, we hear a lot of aliasing effects. Again, this is the result of it being a simple implementation of the digital FM. And I don't want to go into the complexity of making the greatest FM, most pristine FM synth ever. I just want something that's fun to play, sounds cool, and really gives you a good example of how to use the ohm. Objective achieved. All right, so before I get too deep into designing sounds, I want to talk about just playing the synth, as treating it as if it were a piano or just a regular keyboard. By default, the 64 buttons are mapped to notes 0 to 63, so these are just outputting 0 to 63, and those MIDI notes come into the computer and then are remapped in the OhmSound synth in the matrix scales module down here. The first 6 rows are mapped to major scale across 6 different octaves, and then I've got the last 2. You can hear those 6 octaves. And the last 2 are mapped to a minor scale on a couple of octaves. And so we can hear the difference between a major and a minor, with the flattened 3rd step. So with this most basic arrangement, we can make some fun melodies and modulate between minor and major scales. And that's pretty basic. You can change the key of the scales. Let's go ahead and I'll make rows 7 and 8. I'll switch those to pentatonic major scales, 7, and make that pentatonic major, and change the octave, drop that octave down. And what I'm going to do with the row 8 is I'm going to move that shift that up 5 half steps to change the key. And now we can go ahead and make a little pop music if we want to. So we can already, start to see that, well, we have a basic songwriting tool here. We can explore some different scales and chords. Even if you're not well versed in theory or good at a piano, now you have those tools at your disposal for making music. And another good note about these scales and how we have these set up is that these are all saved when we quit the OhmSound, so when we can recall them when we start up and it's all saved. If enough of you ask, I may even add a presets feature to this so that you can create multiple setups. So that's how we just do simple playing of the instrument and get notes. Now that we know how that works, we can move on to sound design.